sync. That sounded much.
That was like a full second and a half. What the fuck?
The power of the internet.
Okay.
I don't know. How does that translate when you sync it all together?
It sounds like it does to you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's better.
Because you two have extremely little delay between you.
Okay.
But welcome all to the Triple Baka Podcast, Episode 3. I'm your host, Nyuu, and those are the other ones.
Hello, I'm Tom.
I'm the other one.
You're relegated to the other one now.
Thank you, other one.
That's my name for the remainder of this episode.
So, I haven't really had any time to do anything, so I haven't watched anime, and I haven't played games, except for yesterday, but, I couldn't watch my own anime at that point.
Yeah.
I did actually want to mention, Uzumaki has a new trailer.
Yes.
And it looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's not coming out until October of 2022.
Yeah.
That's its new scheduled time.
This looks like it might be the best anime of all time. Can we actually give it an anime of the decade review right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm calling it'll probably be like most people's anime of the year of 2022.
Honestly, yeah, probably.
Because I was really excited mostly just because like that even in that little tiny clip, you can tell that the directing for the animation and like the storyboarding is really solid with the way they just hang on certain shots and the way that like all of the motion is like so delicately animated with like the bag has like all these like lines on it, but it looks like a solid object even though it's like moving around. It's probably like rotoscope to some extent, but it just looks really good.
Yeah. Unlike anybody else, I have actually watched some anime this week. I have now finished Mobile Suit Gundam. And yeah.
How was that? I already know how it was.
Yeah, it was very, very good. I was incredibly sad at the ending, but I enjoyed the entire run of it. Spoiler alert: Gundam dies. But
Mobile Suit Gundam die.
Unironically though, like it dies, it breaks, they destroy it. I was so upset.
I wonder what they're gonna do for like the sequels.
Build more.
Gundam 2.
Yeah. No.
So emotional.
The thing about the original Gundam, right, is like the original Gundam is equipped with like a computer that like pushes like it sort of makes the machine like predict things. And the human pilot translates that as them predicting things. And the whole thing about the show, right, is like, I joked earlier that, like, yeah, he had PTSD, but, like, it got better. He's better now. Like, unironically, by the end of the show, that's, like, what happened. That's, like, what's revealed. He, like, he was really fucked up mentally, but he, like, literally evolved because of the Gundam, and he is now, like, a newer species of human.
Yeah.
That's what the new types are. It's like
they're the next stage.
Yeah, they're the next stage of humanity, and they can like predict parts of the future.
They grew up on the internet. Now they have big brain.
Yeah. They can like predict the future to some extent. They can't like predict it directly, but they have like an intuition for it. And it's, I don't know, it's used really well in the series, and, like, the ending part was literally the best part of it. The war drama really kicks it up past 11, and Char gets his own like episode that's really good, and there's this other character that gets introduced, another new type. I think her name was Lala, and she does like psychic blast attacks on like entire armies, and it's like insane, and it's a very good watch. I would recommend. Very nice start to mobile or to mecha shows. You know.
How many hearts out of 7 would you give the show?
What do you mean hearts out of 7? I gave it a 7 out of 10.
How many out of 7s?
Do the math.
I guess that'd be like a 5. I guess out of 7.
Wow, only giving it out of a 5. Holy shit!
Okay.
5 out of 5.
I thought you liked the
stars.
show.
Yeah, 5 stars. Okay.
It's in the first minute. I meant, holy crap.
Is it in the first minute?
Wait,
oh,
is it?
God. Fuck.
Wait, no,
We're
it's
gonna
not.
get demonetized. Yeah, no, we are a little bit in now.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Time passes quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so I did watch a couple more shows. The next one being Toshi Gordion. This one was weird. Nyuu, I hit something that you hit. Only 3 episodes of this show were subbed. At all. And it wasn't
you're not even in the 80s yet.
Yeah. This was 1979. Only 3 episodes were subbed, and it was 4 through 6. Who only subbed 4 through 6? Anyways, I wrote down a couple notes on what I thought was interesting about this show. The audio was, like, really bad. Like, I bet it's just, the quality of the recordings. This show doesn't seem to be preserved too well. It's just, like...
Yeah.
Its audio was almost unbearable. And the animation was also really bad, and the plotline seemed, like, entirely incomprehensible. Granted, I started on episode 4. I only watched about 5 minutes of it, and then I was like, I'm done with this. However, I did decide to go and watch the opening on YouTube, just to see what that was like.
Yeah.
And I saw something that was kind of odd. Most mecha shows, it's like you get in the robot and it's the robot. But in the opening of this show, this guy puts on like a robot suit, and then he jumps into the air, and another robot comes down, like a slightly bigger robot, and like clamps onto his robot suit. And it does that 2 more times until he's in a giant robot.
So he's in like a Matryoshka doll robot.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? I wouldn't have watched this entire show anyways, because it is, let me check my notes here, 73 episodes, which is odd, but, I don't know, it seemed really weird. I didn't watch more than 5 minutes, and that, I had some dates wrong. That is the last show from 1979, there were only 2, so I did watch the first episode of a show from 1980, and that was Muteki Robo Trider G7, otherwise known as just otherwise just known as Muteki Robo Trider or Invincible Robo Trider. This show was pretty cute, I guess. Editor, quick, throw up an image of Trider. It's got like a neato robot design. That's like.
Now make it spin.
Yeah, make it spin. So, like, Trider's, like, a neat design, I guess, and he's, like, I don't know, I really don't know, yeah, it's just a really boring show. It had pretty good music, and the animation wasn't too bad, which isn't surprising, because, surprise, surprise, this robot show was animated by Sunrise.
Whoa.
Who would have thought? I know, crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the show was, like, cute, but it clearly didn't care about its overarching plot too much. It was obviously just, like, a kid's show. So I didn't want to, like, you know, go too hard in on it. I was just going to watch one of the 50 episodes. And soon, probably sometime this week, I'm going to watch the next show on my list, which is Uchu Taite, God Sigma. More like Uchu Taite, God Sugma Balls.
Got him.
Got it.
All right. So, Sayu,
What's
have
up?
Yeah.
you watched anything?
You been up to anything?
I'm legally
You at least
required
play a
to say
Japanese
no.
video game?
I played Devil May Cry 3 again. I guess.
Alright, sounds cool.
Okay.
That's like I haven't had time to do anything in the past like week.
Yeah, it's like for me, I just like a bunch of stuff with like people coming over to people's houses or like people coming to my house because of different like things that organized ahead of time, and I just didn't do anything.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's anime. That's
Yeah.
this week in anime.
All right. Now.
Oh,
now,
wait. I did watch
What?
one
Hold
more
up.
thing. I did watch one more thing.
Oh, here we go.
Today, actually, I watched the first episode of Cowboy Bebop.
Didn't you already watch Cowboy Bebop?
I did, but that was back when I was young and stupid.
Alright, now you're watching it again.
I'm watching it again. I'm enjoying it
Yeah.
considerably more this time.
I remember the first episode of Cowboy Bebop very vividly.
Yeah, it's a very memorable first episode.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. Like you know the whole thing about like Cowboy Bebop, about like how many different episodes are like these self-contained little like stories, looks into people's lives. Most of them are tragedies.
Yeah.
And like the first episode is actually like a really like standard tragedy story. It's like so much less creative than like any of the others that come after it.
Yeah, but it
still sticks out a lot.
Yeah, it's the most memorable episode of the show because it introduces you to both Spike and his friend man. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Jet.
Jet, that's his name. That is his name, yes. And it introduces us to those two, and, like, it gives us just enough to tease a bit about their pasts and, like, things that, like, we're gonna get to see out of them.
Yeah.
And then it introduces a very standard, like story, but it gives us all of the reasons to enjoy it, you know? It's animated really well. Spike's a really smart character, so that comes into play a lot.
Cool guy.
There's just a lot of cool stuff happening in the episode that's really indicative of everything that comes later in the series. So, yeah, it's a very good first episode.
Do we just want to get into the main topic?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm excited for this one, even though I didn't prepare at all.
Me neither. We have the main discussion point. We're finally doing a topic which isn't a list or endless complaining. We'll be talking about gatekeeping.
Now, before we begin,
that's what we're getting into.
Now, before we begin, I've taken it upon myself to look up the Urban Dictionary definition of gatekeeping.
Yeah, all right. Lay it on me. What's gatekeeping?
When someone takes it upon themselves to decide who does or does not have access or rights to a community or identity. That's actually like a good. That's actually like a good definition for the first time ever. I would say that's what
gatekeeping is.
Now, I'm about to hit y'all with a hot take.
Yeah, let me hear it. Gatekeeping, all good or all bad?
Gatekeeping is based. Gatekeepers are cringe.
True.
Yeah.
No.
The person who takes it upon themselves to do the gatekeeping is undeniably cringe, but they serve as a very good deterrent from communities devolving into toxic garbage.
It's a necessary cringe.
Yeah.
That's really the martyrs of the movement. But no, I disagree. All steps of it are cringe. Everything
make your case. Why? What's bad about gatekeeping?
Everything should be accessible to like everyone who's like interested, you know.
What if like a community is based around like a commonality? like a very niche commonality.
Yeah.
Would it, like, explain yourself?
Wait.
If you don't,
Allow me to defute this point in one easy step. Anyone who would be interested in joining the community would just join it. The gatekeeping steps wouldn't be keeping them out of it.
No, that's literally what it does, though. That's what gatekeeping is.
okay,
you know,
you know what? I'm
like-
not gonna beat around the bush. All right, I'm just gonna talk about anime. All right. What if
Yeah?
we let in all the losers who call things like invincible anime, like, and they're just yeah, you know, I don't want to gatekeep you out of the anime community, and they're like, oh, I love Steven Universe, it's my favorite anime, until like anime doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, so?
Destroyed. Facts and logic die.
I have very particular bones to pick with people who say gatekeeping is bad, because gatekeeping being more enforced in a community I was in would have actually saved it and the franchise that it was surrounding. So
Yeah.
I don't think gatekeeping is necessarily bad, actually.
I'm inclined to agree. What
Yes.
community are you talking about?
It's specifically Sonic.
Wait,
current-
hold up. Explain yourself.
The Sonic community is a dumpster fire. I don't think
As is always.
I don't think anyone's gonna deny that. It's always it's just the biggest fucking dumpster fire ever. However, it's a dumpster fire that gets clowned on fucking constantly.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Sega takes it upon themselves to try and reach the audience, not the audience that likes the games. Sega tries to reach the audience that doesn't, over and over again. And these people, like it or not, they're attached to the community in a lot of ways, you know? At least a fair few of them are followers of Cybershell, I'll just say it, because Cybershell's very entertaining. It's very easy to get into his videos. But on top of that, the Sonic fan base is so fucking splintered and broken and, like completely unhinged, and
Can you blame that on, like, a lack of gatekeeping, though? I mean, they've made, like, a trillion different Sonic games of different styles. And
Yes.
so even if you limited the community to people who were, like, really big fans of a Sonic game, you have, like, 40 different games there.
Yeah.
yeah, so here's the thing, right?
It feels
We
like you're
had
just,
to
like, not
gatekeep out-
considering the
we have
people
to
who like...
gatekeep out anyone who says anything negative. No, but like
true.
unironically though, like a lack of gatekeeping
Okay.
is what allowed people in the community, quote unquote, people who were making fun of the community ostensibly, people like Gligar13 vids, if anyone remembers him, or like who was the other one? Sammy Classic Sonic Fan was another one that may or may not have been making fun of the community. We don't really know. He might have just been part of it. He might just be an example of the kind of person I'm talking about. But a lack of gatekeeping allowed a bunch of literal children with no control over how they present their fucking, like, opinions, or no ability to talk about other people's opinions into the community.
I really feel like this whole conversation is really putting on display just how intrinsically fucked the Sonic community actually is. Because I mean, it's like Sega always was trying to always trying to attract, like, weird children.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's-
Like, Sonic is, like, weird because it's like stupid, and it seems, in my opinion, I feel like actually enjoying Sonic games is a pretty niche thing. But like, the games and Sega clearly from the start always, like, wanted a wide audience, as wide as they could get. And it's so at odds with itself forever.
It widened the net so much that it actually shrank it.
I don't think gatekeeping has anything to do with the absolute state of Sonic.
I don't know. I think gatekeeping could have played a big role in at least saving the fan base.
No, the fan base was fucked from the start. All right,
The online discussion around Sonic, maybe.
Yeah. Frankly,
Nah.
the best form of gatekeeping is actually the block button. Use it liberally.
I don't
okay,
consider
here you know
that.
what?
I don't
The
consider
best-
that gatekeeping.
We have the best form of gatekeeping, okay? This is the best form of gatekeeping, and this is the kind that I am an advocate for, because it keeps the gatekeepers, like, it makes them irrelevant. You don't need a gatekeeper if you do gatekeeping right, and so
Twitter block
therefore,
bots. I
there's
agree completely.
no cringe. We can get rid of the cringe in gatekeeping, but still keep the gatekeeping. And what I'm talking about is the filter. When you include things in the thing that would filter out all the people that would be shit in the community.
Yeah?
Anime, I'm gonna keep talking about anime.
Define
has
filter.
a really good filter. You know when you like watch like No Game No Life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it has like a bunch of weird fan service in it constantly. And then people go, oh, I don't like No Game No Life. Too much fan service. They've been filtered. They're now no longer part of the No Game No Life community.
Well,
You see,
well, that just makes them uninterested. That's not being gatekept.
wait.
That's
Wait.
being filtered.
That's
No.
being gatekept by the media itself.
Yeah.
So, wait, if something just like fails to capture someone's interest, have they been gatekept?
Yes.
I think
that's such a broad definition. It means nothing.
No, hold up. Okay, you know, maybe I'm actually gonna be stupid. Okay,
It's literally impossible
viewers.
not to gatekeep people.
No, wait. Viewers, if there's nothing on the screen right now, then you know that I'm dumb. But I'm pretty sure I remember at some point, like, watching, like, a panel from, like, some sort of anime director at, like, Otakon or something, or, like, reading an ANN article where an anime director, like, explicitly said that part of the, like, fun of fan service is that it, like, keeps people who don't like what anime is all about out of, like, the otaku community. Go Nagai, creator of Mazinger Z, Cutie Honey, and Devilman, has recalled that when debuting Harenchi Gakuen in 1968, he faced much controversy from many publishers for featuring sexual shots of female characters in what was otherwise a series meant for young boys, before eventually being accepted into a very new weekly Shonen Jump. In an interview with Shueisha Magazine Weekly Playboy in 2007, he argued that the series was less about sexuality than it was about Japan's culture of shame, and later has repeatedly gone on to defend the series and sexual imagery in anime manga as a whole by saying that he thinks free expression is ultimately important to the medium and artists as a whole, believing that by protecting sexual imagery and expression, we open the doors on freedom of expression across the board.
It's probably someone from Gainax.
Go Nagai never worked at Gainax.
Oh god, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, no, that only works for Japanese properties, specifically. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, they're just marketed differently.
I mean, yeah. Japanese properties tend to target very specific groups of people, whereas American and other foreign markets tend to sort of target like really specific, like, or really broad nets of people.
I don't think it's necessarily something to do with Japan as much as just the otaku culture.
Yeah, I think it has
because broader
everything...
Japanese media for sure exists.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a perfect example of this is what happened to, like, Halo. Halo started as a really cool sci-fi shooter where, like, all of the effort went into, like, the world building and the fucking crazy stuff that happened in it, and, like, it was, like, cool.
And then it became what sold Xbox.
Yeah, It, like, literally started selling Xboxes, not because of the story, because of the multiplayer. And the fact that it was one of... I don't know if Halo 1 had it. I know Halo 2 had it. It was, like, one of the first fucking, like, really accessible online shooters.
I think it was right from Halo 1.
Halo 1 on
I think
PC had multiplayer, but I don't know if that's an indication of anything on the Xbox.
That's not real. I mean, okay, Halo 1 PC multiplayer is definitely... It was always popular, but...
Yes.
It was the Xbox Live. Because Microsoft funded Halo. And so when Halo was like, oh, that's what like people want an Xbox for, now it became like an Xbox thing. And it became all about Xbox Live. And... It influenced
which became the worst thing in gaming history.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you always had to pay for an Xbox Live subscription.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like from the Xbox, like the original Xbox, I think you always had to pay.
And it was pretty expensive too, wasn't it?
We should have gate kept gaming.
We really should have. No, I'm about to explain why we should have.
No.
Halo was picked up by a bunch of, dude bros who like to sit there and yell slurs on Xbox Live fucking 24/7 constantly, nonstop. And like that was all Halo became known for, was it had multiplayer and you got slurs thrown at you by a 12-year-old. I mean, yeah, that was a magical experience. However, once 343 took over, they stopped caring about literally anything else. Every single 343 developed Halo game was basically shown off with, like, a story teaser to show off that the game was coming out. And then, every other trailer was like, here's what you can do in the multiplayer. And I'm pretty sure...
You can use the sites now.
And I'm pretty sure it was always less than last time. So, as they filtered out the modes people didn't like as much.
Yeah, and they kept adding, like, more and more gameplay mechanics that just made it, like, Call of Duty, but you can jump high.
I haven't actually played any of the Halo games that isn't, like, the first one's multiplayer, but that one was pretty fun.
I mean, the multiplayer isn't even, like, a problem. I don't care about the multiplayer. It's, like, fine. What I care about is the fact that the story quality went downhill so hard, so fucking fast that, like... The moment Bungie dropped Halo after Reach, you don't play a single other Halo game.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, in that case, it was really just all about the fact that, like, Halo was so important to Microsoft that, like, Bungie was like, we want to do something else. So they just had to give it away.
Yeah.
Because as long as Bungie was developing Halo, then, like, Microsoft wouldn't let them do anything else.
And then they made Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny was almost good, and then they decided to get published by Activision.
Yeah.
That's like a whole different... We could have, like, an episode about, like, development hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about all the stories, like the Destiny.
That's when I go off on my 40-minute unhinged rant about how Sonic is bad now, citing specifically the final boss music and nothing else.
Can you judge the quality of a Sonic game by its final boss music?
Yeah, almost. There's one outlier, and it's Sonic Lost World. Sonic Lost World has a really good final boss theme, and Lost World itself is so bad it's actually kind of a community meme that nobody liked it, and Sega keeps pushing it for some reason.
No, I want to go back to talking about how, like, the idea that people don't like things is, like, intrinsically gatekeeping.
No, that's not. It's just
No. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But I think you can include things intentionally that appeal to specific people and not the outsiders of the community you want to cultivate.
Like Sayu, a perfect example here in JoJo. Part 1, 2, and 3 are really fucking gory with a ton of body horror. That keeps people out. Reason.
Okay, but that stuff is like... It's like...
It's like why the episode 1 of Lucky Star is the most boring thing in the entire universe.
Oh god, what was that show? What was that fucking show with the giant normie barrier at the beginning of it? Was it Technolize?
Yeah.
Technolize filters you hard.
we watched I think 3 episodes of Lucky Star. It never changed from what the first episode is. If you're caught off, if you're made uninterested by the first episode, you're just not interested. That's not a form of gatekeeping.
The show later gets fucking really stupid and over the top, and there's an entire fucking parody episode for Initial D where they're drifting around in the Akina Hills and shit. It's more than just people standing around and talking about how they eat the food for literally 15 minutes.
Well, I didn't watch that much of the show.
It filters you with the 3-episode test.
Yeah. It's, based.
I don't know. I just don't really consider that a form of gatekeeping.
I mean, the 3-episode test is widespread. Everybody knows the 3-episode test. They even do that shit in Japan. And so the fucking hyper otaku who were working at KyoAni at the time knew that they could just make it all around the 3-episode test.
This is true. No, I don't get how it's so hard to conceptualize that you can include something in a piece of media specifically to keep someone out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I get that. I just don't consider
the JoJo one.
I just don't consider that a form of gate. The JoJo one, for one thing, I'm pretty sure that stuff was the original, part of the original intent of the series, wasn't it?
I doubt JoJo was supposed to remain
gory throughout it.
Their audience. I don't think JoJo even knew it would have a weird audience at the time.
Yeah, I understand that. I just don't really consider that gatekeeping. When I think of gatekeeping, it's more individuals in a community keeping people out of it.
All right. Well, we can just talk about that
instead of the origins of the community keeping them out.
In which case, banning someone from your Discord is a form of gatekeeping.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay. Technically, not all bad. All right.
He's conceding, moving the goalpost.
Wow, Sayu, what's next?
I'm a hack fraud. I'm sorry.
What was I gonna say about community gatekeeping? Oh yeah. So there's some communities that are not from a piece of media. They're pretty much entirely self-cultivated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about it. I make art in the furry community.
Yeah.
And I really don't like the direction the furry community has gone over the past decade. Way back in the day, the earliest of the internet memes as we experienced them, where furries were universally hated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to that.
It didn't even matter what they were doing, whether or not they were being outwardly obnoxious, which very frequently furries were all the time. Just unbelievably obnoxious.
Which is based, by the way.
Yeah, which is super based. And that obnoxious behavior was a filter. You see, I'm tying it together. And so the normies just hated furries, and they were die. If you even indicated that you were a furry, even slightly, they just said die.
Yeah.
And so that was all the people outside of the community. They were gatekeeping the community for you.
It was always so weird. There was an entire there still kind of is. There's an entire meme archetype that was just I fucking hate furries. I'm gonna kill them.
Yeah. I mean, it's not it's totally dissolved yet.
Yeah.
But at some point, furries were kind of I don't know the history of the fandom, as you could call it. But at some point, I distinctly remember that it was a very common thing in the furry community where they hated that they were beat up on online all the time, but then it kind of evolved, and it became like, you know what, yeah, I don't want to be normal, I'm a fucking weirdo. And so they like said ooh woo, and they made their little faces, and they were obnoxious all the time, and nobody and everybody in the community was down with it.
Again, base.
And I don't know much about this event, but tell me if you've heard about this. Have you guys ever heard of the burned furs?
The what?
No.
Okay, this was first impact in the furry community. So, disclaimer, when I made this recording, I had never ever once in my life looked into what the burned furs are, and now that I actually have no idea what they were. I've heard very conflicting things. It doesn't seem to be well documented. But from what I can gather, I was mostly right. However, I did not understand how far back they actually went. They initially appeared in the late 90s, as I can gather, in response to an artist allegedly being turned down from a job for including furry artwork in their portfolio. This led to a big schism within the community of the time, saying that furry was too weird and that it should try and clean up its act. So no Nazi furs, no diaper furs, no anything. No not safe for work. That was the big one. And they just wanted it to be clean, fun, friendly for the whole family. And after that, the burned furs got totally BTFO. All of the rest of everybody in the community was like, no, you're stupid. I like the weirdness. That's what it should be all about. But slowly over time, as this event has faded into obscurity of furry history, the sentiment of wanting to be accepted by normal people grew again. Except in this form, it was similar to the way that the LGBT community doesn't want to clean up its act so much as be accepted for who they are. Now, there's a whole lot of hot takes you could say about conflating furry identity with LGBT identity, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Where we had like this group of people, they were generally more right-wing, called like the burned furs or whatever. And it was kind of like the Gamergate of the furry community.
Huh.
Where now the furries were like fracturing within themselves. And I don't know much about it, but I can infer that somewhere around that time, it became a thing where, like, now the meme was like, oh, we're not even that weird, guys. This is just another form of normal. We're normal like the rest of you. And furries have never been the same since. And more over time, furries have kind of tried to, like, perform, like, or they've, like, fooled themselves into believing that, like, the furry community isn't a place for weird people. It's just, like, normal, guys. We're normal, like the rest of you guys. And it started working, where, like, a lot of normies, like, are just like, what's even wrong with them? They just like doing their thing. And so now there's a whole bunch of people in the furry community who are just fucking normies.
Oh, I feel like that's just because, like, acceptance of, like, the idea of furries has, like...
No,
you know?
it hasn't, though. Like, if you still act like furries did in, like, 2007, and you're, like,
here's the
more
difference.
weird...
You get cringed out of your community now.
Yeah, now you get cringed out of your own community.
The community that used to accept you is now hostile to you.
Alright, sorry, I don't want to cut in too much here, but, you know, if there's any furries watching this, I know that, like, my main audience is furries, so they might find their way here somehow. I gotta be careful when I'm talking about these things. It is not the case that you will get cringed out of the furry community as a whole just for being an obnoxious weirdo, because the furry community is so divided and has so many subsections that it is really just a broader blanket culture that encapsulates many pretty much individual subcultures that only have marginal overlap. Like, I obviously make weird art, but that's not going to get me kicked out of the rest of the community that thinks that art is weird. And I have seen different members of the community as a whole say that some parts are really weird, and like all of them continue to coexist. So it's just a really weird thing. Like, furry is not a good example because it's really this broader big thing that forms a bunch of smaller sub communities. It just doesn't even mean anything.
Because new people have moved in and changed what the community is.
Yeah. Because they wanted to be accepted by a wider appeal. But
yeah.
it didn't make the taste that is being a furry, being a weirdo, obnoxious furry. It didn't make that normal. It just brought the normies in. You just opened the gates. You stopped gatekeeping.
It just changed what it is.
And like, now all the completely. Fucking, like, normies who are in this community, who are essentially just like, I don't want to be a weirdo. I'm a furry, but I'm not a weirdo, though. They look at stuff like what I do, and they look at stuff like other people around me, and they're like, oh, that guy's fucking cringe.
Well, like, that happened before anyway, though.
This happens.
Not the way it is.
Not in the community.
Yeah.
There's something to be said.
Now people who are like, oh yeah, I love being a furry, are like, oh, not like those furries, though. Those...
Like, there's something to be said about having a community around you that is, like, accepting of you, even if other people around you aren't. And when the community around you, quote-unquote, is like that, like the people on the outside, then you're not going to have a good time in that community.
I mean,
it's not really a community. It's just fucking normies.
Like, I don't know.
This inevitably happens to any community that doesn't gatekeep well enough.
Uh-oh.
Sayu.
He's losing the debate.
Oh my god, dead name.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Oh shit! I am the only one who hasn't done it now!
No. I mean, this is just like such a normal conversation we would have.
It is. Complete with catching Sayu off guard and forcing him into a corner.
Listen, alright, I'm an expert debater. Alright.
Like, I
could take Sam Cedar any day.
I'm gonna be honest, I am incredibly worried about the future of the JoJo fanbase as the series continues to grow and expand here in the West, and its fanbase will inevitably grow to the point of something like it probably won't hit Naruto levels, right?
Everyone everyone thinks JoJo's weird. No one has like a problem with that part of it, though. That's just not a thing that people don't.
Wait,
I'm not.
No,
what?
That is not true. There are certain opinions within the community that are taking hold in very odd places that I've noticed.
Is it like a festering of the Araki Furgati?
I mean, there's that. That's always there. JoJo fans are morons. They've always been morons. But they were my morons, damn it. No, like, so there's two ends of this, right? There's people who are like, oh yeah, well, I watched part 1 and 2, and then I tried to watch part 3, but it's bad and I hate Stans, and I think he should go back to Hamon.
You know, it's worth noting for the audience that Tom is a manga boy when it comes to JoJo.
Yes. I have read the entire English release of JoJo Part 4. Like, I literally own the entire English series, including the little textbook that Araki made about writing manga, and the little Rohan book that he sold at the Louvre. I own all of it in English. And the only part I haven't read yet is Part 5, because I decided to watch the anime instead. The Part 5 anime was pretty enjoyable, I'll admit. It was alright. I bet the manga will be better though. Anyways, no. So people saying like, oh yeah, I prefer Haman. I don't like stans. I think stans are bad. This opinion is one I've heard over and over again, and it reminds me every day that there are some opinions that are just not worth my time to listen to.
Well, that's not like the normie opinion though. Everyone loves stans.
Wait.
They're like what gives JoJo.
Wait.
What?
This is one half of a normie opinion.
Yeah.
The other half, the other much larger group of people are people I like to call, and the community likes to call, the part skippers.
Ooh.
These are the people like Jeff Thu of Mother's Basement. Don't sue me, Jeff.
Okay,
I'm not
hold on.
actually saying
can
you
we
did
put
this.
up the Jeff order? Can we put up the Jeff order?
Put up the Jeff order. Put it up right now.
The Jeff
Editor.
order?
The Jeff order.
Jeff put up, Jeff released on Twitter or something, his official recommendation for the order in which you should watch JoJo.
Here, post it in the
I
chat.
don't even... Let me find it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
already have it.
Okay.
Let me throw it in the Discord. Will it actually send? Yes, it will. This thing is like a fucking disaster.
This gives me an aneurysm.
Wait, you start.
It's so bad. You start on part 4.
You start with part 4. Is that Battle Tendency is part 2, right?
Yeah, you go. It's 4 to 5.
And this is specifically about the anime.
Season 1 of Stardust Crusaders, and then Phantom Blood, so part 1, and then Season 2 of Stardust Crusaders, and then Stone Ocean Steel Ball Run JoJolion.
Huh.
I don't even understand the fucking, impotence here. I mean, he explains it. There's, little notes here where it's oh, he explained the stand, and it's a self-contained story, Diamond Unbreakable. But why wouldn't you just watch them in order?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Because you just want to get to the good part. You just want to get to the part. I don't know.
I fucking hate this image so much. Okay, my big problem with the part skippers is that they'll skip to whatever part seems to be popular at the moment. We got a big wave of them when part 5 aired, and people only watched part 5. Which, I guess on paper is fine enough. Part 5 is a self-contained story that doesn't really connect into the other parts. It's not as important as some of the others as well. So
I mean, you could say that about anything after part 3.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which is why it's stupid. You should still watch or read them. You should still read them in order, because you can watch the evolution of the art styles. You can see the changing and the change of story themes. You can see the way older characters.
Anime specifically, Season 1 is both part 1 and 2 just rolled into a pretty short little season of anime. It's fun. It's great. You get introduced to Dio. I feel like the origin story for the whole Dio versus Joseph thing or JoJo thing is really compelling, even though I think Hamon is boring.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Hamon's fine. It's a cute beginner power.
Hamon was only fun in part 2.
But then you go straight into part 3, and you're already at the part of JoJo that everyone's all talking about.
Yeah. Oh my god. I fucking hate part skippers. Just read them in order. I'm not gonna sit here and say watch them in order, because to be completely and totally honest, I don't think that the anime is great. I think it's good. I think the manga is so much better. It outclasses it in every way.
I haven't read the manga, but I'd be very willing to believe that, considering I was really turned away from the anime.
Here's the thing: it doesn't fix the issues with part 3, which is another thing about not gatekeeping your community enough. Is opinions start to fester over time in a community, and slowly but surely, the general consensus that I see over and over again, I'll see a post being I really like this part of JoJo. There's 10 million responses that are that part fucking sucks. I think you're stupid for liking it, and it just happens over and over again. And this is the inevitable fate of any community that gets that big. Look at fucking Sonic.
You know what? I'm going to talk about this too. All right, so I feel like an extremely important part of gatekeeping is not just like making sure that you maintain like the commonalities between like people and like how they see stuff or whatever. There's also like an unspoken like almost courtesy or rule set to some communities.
Yes.
And now I was never a big browser of 4chan back when I was like 5 years old or whatever. But I've known about 4chan ever since I started using the internet, and I started like using the internet on a daily basis when I was like 6. And from what what I gathered from back then, is that like, I mean, 4chan used to literally have a big list of rules that was like, don't talk about 4chan outside of 4chan, you're like, not many people know the meaning behind a lot of these rules because they were written in a very like insular community type way. One of the rules is just like, there are no girls on the internet, and how that was meant to be interpreted was like, on 4chan, don't open your post with like, I'm a girl by the way, or like, I'm black by the way, because it's all supposed to be anonymous. Like, nobody is supposed to like have what they say be prefaced with outsider information, because like everybody's posts are just supposed to be read next to each other, equal merit. That's what it was all about. And whenever you would post something and you would clearly like be a guy who like doesn't get it, everybody would just say lurk more, like stop talking. You're like, if you want to be a part of this community, figure it out before you open your stupid mouth, otherwise it'll fall apart. And over time, 4chan has devolved further and further because other sites moderated their like things more, and so 4chan became the place where it's just the fall off for everybody who doesn't belong anywhere else on the internet. And when there was a sudden influx of people like this, the gatekeeping no longer worked. And like now there was like a bunch of people on the site who didn't give a fuck about like any of the site culture or these community rules before. And it became like when somebody said lurk more, there would be another guy who just is like, oh, you're dumb. And so it's like now you have all these people who don't get what's up, and 4chan has devolved into what you see today. That's not to say that 4chan wasn't always full of a bunch of like racists and like offensive stuff, but it was about more than just being like the Nazi holding ground of the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, originally, Pol, the board that is literally the Nazi holding ground, that was a containment board where you were globally not allowed to talk about things that were politically incorrect outside of Pol. That's why Pol isn't titled Politics, it's titled Politically Incorrect. But now, the website runs itself because you apply to be a Janny, you do it for free, and then, like, now you're the one moderating the site. And there's so many people who just, like, were in this influx of users that are now janitors, and they don't even care about the global rules of not talking about politically incorrect things outside of Pol. Like, one of the only places on the site where this is actually upheld is A, and they don't even do a very good job of it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, gatekeeping is important. It needs to be done in communities.
No.
Yes. It literally does.
I just got BTFO.
Sayu, how would you feel if the comments of this video were just nothing but a bunch of Nazis insulting you?
Okay, as I said before, gatekeeping is sometimes not bad.
You know what? I'm doubling down. All good.
I do feel like most of the time it's done though. It is done in like a in like a weird, like, holier than thou kind of way. That's just
All right,
really
well,
cringe.
we could talk about
any
elitism.
Yeah, that's like a separate issue.
No, it's not. No,
pull
these
up-
are directly
Pull up
linked.
the dictionary. Pull up. No, it is. I would say it's very correlated. Pull up the dictionary
Yes.
definition of elitism.
All right, hold up.
You see, good gatekeeping is, I'm stupid and weird. Why are you here? Bad gatekeeping is, you're stupid and weird. Why are you here?
The belief that one social group is superior to another group.
Yes. That's a decent definition.
I actually, you know what? I agree. Elitism is based.
Oh my god.
All right, leave it to Nyuu.
All right. Now here's my case. All right, think about it like this. All social groups are of equal value except normies. Fuck normies.
Yeah.
There's not really like a social group.
Do we need to?
It's just
We should like provide a definition of normie then.
All right, hold up.
All right. Urban Dictionary, normie.
Yeah.
A person gravitating to social standards, accepted practices, and fads of their own time and geographic grouping without broader cultural perspectives, from which they draw. Normies possess a lack of interest in ideas not easily accessible or being outside of their/society's current range of acceptance. A straight, a follower. Most normies adopt a popularity the only measure of good and bad mindset at an early age. Normies typically have a do we want to keep
No, keep going.
Okay,
keep going.
Keep going.
Normies typically have a sense of cultural superiority over counterculture movements in foreign cultures. They will often try to discredit our cultures or choices, falling outside of their majority think, claiming those of other dispositions are mentally ill or out of touch with reality. By perspective, normies of this generation would have been the social outcasts of the uber-conformist 50s.
You know, this is not even a bad definition. You know, I don't think this is that bad.
I feel like this is like a Wikipedia article. More than a definition.
No, but like, I mean, I feel like the defining thing. Here's what I mean when I say like normies are like lesser than the rest of them, is that like, even though normalcy is like not an actual ubiquitous cultural like connection that people have, it's like an imagined connection. But unlike most other like cultures, it's like almost intrinsically subtractive, where you just look at things and you're like, oh, that's not normal, so don't touch that.
I'm
like
gonna...
people care about being normal, which is like the most widely accepted things. That essentially removes like unique aspects of yourself.
This could be its own topic. I honestly don't think that normies are real. I feel like it's basically just shorthand for people I don't know.
Okay,
normies,
okay.
No, normies are real.
I jokingly refer to lots of people as normies because I love the word. But there's definitely people. I wouldn't even say they're the majority of people. I think they're maybe like 30% of people, but it's like the small majority. You know what I mean?
To me, it's always described someone who has nothing personal about them. It's always like, oh, I watched this because everyone was talking about it, and I walked away thinking it was good, and the only thing I'll talk about it is like, ooh, did you see that big moment that happened?
Well, that's how it manifests.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't see normies as being something that is like intrinsic to a person. When Sayu says like normies aren't real, do you kind of mean like, I don't think anybody just has nothing interesting about them?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely believe that. I mean, maybe there's some people who are just pretty, like, standard, but even that in itself could be considered, like, a weird thing in a certain way.
Yeah.
The normie is a person who values normalcy, where that's like an intrinsically good thing to them, is to like call something a normal thing, and that makes it better, like by nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And there's lots of people like that.
Yes. I mean, like, I literally just watched, like there's this dude on YouTube giving a channel shout-out to someone who has 40 billion times the subscribers as us. There's this guy named The Right Opinion, and I'll throw on his videos when, like, I need something to just listen to when I'm not, like, when I'm doing something else.
Oh, I know The Right Opinion.
Yeah, he's a very interesting man. But
I've never heard of him.
He made a video recently on this guy named Mini Lad, and this dude, he's like a gaming YouTuber, but apparently he didn't even start, like, making gaming videos until all of his friends started doing it, and it, like, took over his life. And it's like, or, like, he didn't, like, play video games even. And it's like, he gave up something unique about himself to, like, fit in with his friends and society. And that's like the key to normiedom to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you're making compromises about things you like and things you're interested in, because of societal expectations. And I don't mean like, ooh, I pretend to not like that in public, but I do in private. I mean, like, they
That's
legitimately...
one thing, that's fine.
Yeah, but, like, they legitimately, like, won't interact with media or do anything unless other people get them to first, I guess, is a way to describe it, I think.
Well, like,
I don't know if... I don't know if that, like...
I feel like the explanation for that is, like, they just like doing these things as, like, a social thing, you know?
I guess, yeah.
Like they're mainly interested in, like, anime so they can talk about it with other people who like anime, you know?
Okay, but here's where it gets kind of complicated. I think this is the complex of the normie condition, where, you know, like I said, most people are not, like, actually that normal. They like things outside of, like, you know, just like, oh, what's the most popular thing? That's what I'm into. So they'll see something and they kind of like it. But because, like, they really value, like, the social cohesion between them and the other people around them, they want to take something that they like, and they want to, like, give it to their other friends so that everybody's, like, on the same page. But they know that, like, oh, there's parts of it that are, like, not normal, that, like, those guys wouldn't like. And so, in the normie brain, when you have, like, this sort of way of thinking ingrained into you so much, you now, like, look at those parts and you're like, oh, those are bad parts because they're causing problems for me. And I'm going to tie this into anime again. I'm going to talk about fan service again. I think, though there's many people who genuinely do not like looking at sexual things, I think there is about as many who, when they complain about fan service, when they say, oh, I really like No Game, No Life, but if they just removed all the fan service, it would be so much better. I think what they really are thinking there is that it would just be easier to recommend to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem when it comes to, like, you don't want to let those sort of people into your community that's full of stuff that's not normal.
Yeah.
When you say, normies, get the fuck out, that's sort of what you're trying to do.
I don't know. I don't think about normies very often, mainly because I think, like, I know that they exist. I just don't really interact with people like that ever.
I think about them all the time, 24/7. It's on my mind all the time.
Here's the thing, right? When it comes to gatekeeping, even though I think it's a good thing and it needs to be done, I've never participated in it or seen very many people participate in it because I follow the golden rule. Don't join communities on the internet.
No.
It's a bad idea.
I agree. But also, it's what I thrive on. I need it.
And also, yes, every time it's a bad idea. And every time it doesn't go well.
I guess I don't really join communities. I just kind of like looking at them. They're like part of the entertainment. And, you know, like, when a community festers and gets like corrupted, that's like when your favorite TV show goes on too long, you know?
It becomes The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I actually do fairly regularly join like anime communities, and they're all
Yeah.
and they're all just objectively shit, but it's a fun
Yeah.
time.
My eternal frustration with normies is really all about like my time in the furry community. I guess even before then, like I never outwardly performed it very much, but in high school, I distinctly remember it being like a big brain blast that like changed my life. Where I was like, all everybody like makes fun of other people for not being normal, but doesn't that like if you just are trying to be normal all the time, then you'll take things about yourself and just remove them. You become like less of a person. And that's like how I saw things forever. So when like people would like make fun of other people for like not being normal, that essentially was like a meaningless statement to me at that point, and I really valued that. And when I got more and more into anime, I really thought that that was a really valuable thing about like otaku culture as a whole, even though I like didn't understand it that well.
Yeah.
I couldn't have like vocalized it in that way. And later, because of my art, I got into the furry community, and that was like the first community that I actually joined, that I saw myself as like a part of. And this whole time, it's like the like anime stuff was always what inspired me. And then I found myself in this community, which at this point was just like they're cut from the same fucking cloth as normies, where they just like care about how in with each other they are and shit, and they don't care about like actually expressing anything that's like very personal or whatever. And I've just been frustrated with it for so long. And I hate normies. That's what they did to me.
Man, do we have anything else to say about gatekeeping?
Gatekeeping is all bad. We're restarting.
Yeah,
It's all good.
It's all good. No, it's 100%. Not name one bad instance of gatekeeping. You can't. Don't even try.
You see, the good thing about gatekeeping is that it ostensibly stops communities from forming, and that is good.
Yeah, let's stop the communities before it's too late.
When I see an anime getting popular, it's getting canceled. I'm sorry.
Yeah, are we just gonna like leave it there? I think that was a good convo.
Yeah, I think that was good. That was good.
All right. It's only an hour. You know, we're keeping it a little tighter this time.
I do believe
Yeah.
that the conclusion
let's-
has been reached, that I was right the whole time, as always.
You mean
Yeah.
me, actually, specifically me, and not the person who also agreed with me. Just me.
There's one number one rule in this podcast, and it's that Sayu is never right.
What? Wait, I wasn't informed of this.
Well, that's what you agreed to in the contract. It was in the fine print written in another language that you can't read.
Yeah.
Frick.
What do you mean you didn't translate the Arabic that I wrote off to the side?
It was written invisibly,
Yeah.
but it was there.
I just thought you were scribbling off to the side.
Alright.
Invisible ink.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got commenter
Yeah.
feedback. We're in the third section now. No
Oh,
voicemails.
do we get
no
commentary?
voicemails? What the fuck?
Fuck!
Send in a voicemail.
What the fuck?
We should start
Wait.
sending in our
Send
own
us your-
voicemails.
Send in the voicemails, damn it!
We got a comment though. I guess we didn't upload another episode yet.
Oh yeah,
we got Robert Anderson, legend. Shoutouts to Robert Anderson. Tom is preparing his battle fortress against Mother's basement as we speak. Tom, do you want to give a comment?
Yeah, Jeff Thu of YouTube, aka Mother's Basement. I'm coming for you!
Globalist!
Editor, put in that clip of Alex Jones going, I'm coming for you, globalists! Ah!
Ah! We're breaking the conditioning! Ah! 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 Coming for you! Coming for you! We know what you're doing!